let's continue with formatting text with InDesign Chapter 6, Classroom in a Book, all about editing text. We're going to go ahead, go to our Canvas, go to Assignments, InDesign Chapter 6, and go ahead and download that zip file for us. Either put it on your desktop or on your flash drive. Once you've got it downloaded, make sure you right-click, open it up, extract all, so you're getting to those files. Once you've got it extracted, let's go ahead and take a peek at what files we have today. In here you'll see we've got one that says Start, one that says End, and one that says Feature February 2018. So we've got a few things to work with. Let's go ahead and open Start. So as we worked with formatting the different types of text in the last chapter, we're going to do that once again. If you do get a message that says you're missing fonts, go ahead and do Turn Type Kit on when you get that message. Let's go ahead and turn on View, Display Performance, and make it high quality so we see nice crisp things. Let's go File, Save As, and instead of Start, let's go ahead and make it Text. Make sure you're in your Chapter 6 folder. I'm going to go ahead and push Save. So one of the first things we can do is you can change a font throughout an entire document with one simple change. So we go to Type, we go to Find Font. So perhaps you used one computer and you didn't save the fonts, maybe you've changed your mind, you don't like the way that one looks. Instead of having to go through and find every instance of that typeface, you can go ahead and use Find Font. So instead of Goudy Old Style Regular, I want to go ahead and make it Minion Pro, so it matches my other Minion I've got in here. So my font family I'm replacing with is Minion Pro. I've got my drop down right here. I've got lots and lots of choices, every font that you have installed on your system. And then you want the font style. So for Minion Pro, you actually have a lot of different types of font styles available. Go ahead and have it redefine the style when you're changing. And go ahead and tell it to change all of them, so it changes every instance of that element. Alright, so now every place that had Goudy in it is now gone. So we're going to say Done. Alright, so we want to see the columns. We're not actually seeing the columns here. So we could go up here to Normal, but we see the margins, but we don't really see the text frame edges. So let's go to View, Extras, Show Frame Edges. So now we can see we've got the columns in there. Alright, what else can we do? Let's grab our text tool and we want to adjust this title to be Urban Renewal with Respect. Alright, so we've changed that one. Gonna click back out so we deselect it. Next thing we're going to do is we need to place all that article in here. So how can we do that? Let's go ahead, grab our text tool, click in this first box because that's where we want it to go. We're going to go File, Place. We're going to navigate to our folder and we want this Feature February 2018. Make sure Show Import is turned off and say Open. And it's going to automatically bring all of that text in for us. So it's always a lot easier to type in Word or another program and import it than to try and design and type at the same time. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and apply a paragraph style to this document. I'm going to go ahead, right click in the document, or just click in the document, and I'm going to Control A or select all, edit select all to get all of the text in there. I'm going to go to my window, into styles, and I want my paragraph styles. You'll see I've got some already established styles here. I want to go ahead and grab the one called Body Paragraph. So notice it changed all of that for us all at once. Alright, so what else can we do? I'm going to go ahead and click out onto the pasteboard. I want to change this W into a nice drop cap. So I can go ahead in this We Rush Past. I can see I've got a first body paragraph style established. So I click that and I get that drop cap already established. So if this is something you're going to use throughout your publication, it's worth making a style for. Alright, so we don't really need to see the edges anymore. So let's go to View, Extras, hide frame edges. So now we've got a nice clean spot to play again. Alright, so what can we play with next? Perhaps you discover that you've made a mistake in typing something. You got someone's name wrong. We can use the find change function to help make those corrections. So let's go to edit and find change. And we decided we spelled Alexis wrong. So we need to put in Alexis with an I. And we need to change it to Alexis with an E. So I found what? Alexis. I want to change it to this one. I want to change it in the text. There's also other objects I can look for. I want it to look forward, which means I want to look from the beginning of this paragraph down. And I want it to search within this story. Alright, so let's go ahead and tell it to find next. And it'll find that first instance for us. And I can go ahead and say change. And oh, look, it had a format come on with it because I was playing with something earlier. I'm going to do Control Z and undo that. I'm going to click over here in my character format and make sure I turn it off so I've got nothing in there. So now let's do find next and change, and I got Alexis to work out right. So now that I know that it's going to work, I'm going to say go ahead and change all, and it's going to change the 2 more times that this appears in my publication. So in addition to playing with a word, you can replace something with a format as well. So I'm going to go ahead and Control S to save what I've got so far. We want to go ahead and change the word hub to be a small cap. So we're going to go ahead and tell it to find HUB, which is hub. And we're going to see all the different ways, things that we can include in our search. So let's go ahead and do whole word. That way we don't get part of a word with the word hub in it. Alright, let's go ahead and we want to change format. So we're going to hit this magnifying glass with a T. We want base or character formats, and we want it to change to small caps. And it's not doing anything. Let's go ahead and find it first. Find next. Alright, change format, basic character format, change to small caps. Alright, so you have to have the word selected before it can go ahead and find it. And then we're going to say OK. So we want it once again to search within, for the word hub, within the story, and we want to have small caps. So let's find next, let's go change. And notice that my word now has the word hub in small caps. So let's go ahead and tell it to change all of them at once. And we've got all those words changed now. So that's find change. Let's say done and Control S to save. So what else can we do? One thing you will get caught for is mistakes in spelling. You've got quite a few different options. I always say edit, spelling, make sure your dynamic spelling is turned on. It'll save you a whole lot of trouble. If you don't have it, you can always run it through check spelling. And it's going to go ahead and start looking through the story and looking for words that are spelled incorrectly. So I've got receive. What do I want it to replace with? I just check my word and say change. And I'm going to go ahead and spell check this entire story. If you know it's a word you spelled incorrectly more than once, go ahead and do change all. City is okay, we're going to skip it. February is technically, it's showing in all caps, but it's not actually all caps, so I can go ahead and change that. And it's doing city again. Alright, now it's got summer is spelled wrong. You can always scoot this out of the way and take a look. So let's change summer. We don't really want to worry about this website address, so ignore all. These people have decided table side is one word, so let's go ahead and leave it as ignore all. And we're going to ignore the name and these other initials and things. They've decided that wait people is one word, so we are going to go ahead and leave it with there. Bruschetta, chorizo, apple smoked, it's okay to have those words side by side, so skip. So you see how to go through and do that process. If you have dynamic spelling turned on, it will go ahead, like it does in Word, and have the little underlines underneath. Once again, you can add words to your custom dictionary just as you can in other programs. Alright, you can also set things to autocorrect. So if you know you spell the word the wrong all the time, you can create an autocorrect to change that as well. Alright, we can also change and edit text by doing dragging and dropping. In order to do that, we need to go to Edit and Preferences. We need to go to Type, which is right here. And in here we want to make sure that we put Enable in Layout View, which means when we're in our layout, we can drag and drop and move things around. So let's say OK. So we're going to go ahead and do some drag and drop up on the very front page. So I'm going to go up here to my pages, go to here to my beginning, and we want to change the words. Let's go, I'm in the wrong one, that's why. We want to go ahead and change the order of these words right here. So we want to move eclectic. So I can select eclectic, drag and drop, put it in before urbanism without having to do the whole cut and paste thing, which makes life a little bit easier. Of course, we have yet another way to edit within InDesign. We've got something called a story editor. Let's go ahead and go View, Fit Spread Window so we can see the whole thing. I'm going to squish my panel here just a little bit because it's taking up way too much room. I'm going to go ahead and grab my text tool, go into my first paragraph. I'm going to do Edit and Edit in Story Editor. And you're going to see you get this whole other information right here. So it's all plain text. So what are some other things you can do here? If we look in Story Editor, we can see that we have overset text, and it's actually telling us what is overset. So we can decide maybe we need to edit this and make it a little bit smaller. So we want to go ahead and get rid of a sentence that starts with the long arcade. If you can't find it, you can always do the Edit Find and do arcade. And it'll help find it a little bit easier. So I'm going to get rid of this whole long arcade sentence and hit delete. So now I still have a little bit overset text, but not nearly as much as I did before. So what if you want to make sure that you're keeping track of who's making what changes are made? You do have a Track Changes option. Let's go up to Type, go down to Track Changes, and we want to track changes in the current story. So let's go ahead and find the word one of the meridians. So I'm going to go ahead and do my find again, Control F, and look for one of, so I can find those words relatively quickly. We're going to go ahead and change that a little bit. We want to go ahead and, instead of having 8 years ago, it's really 5 years ago. But our track changes isn't on. So let's go ahead and do Type, Track Changes in Current Story. So we had 8, now we want to put 5 in. And say instead of real city, you want to say real planet. You should be getting indications that those words are now being changed, but for some reason we're not seeing them. You should get this to be yellow as a way to track those changes. Let's go ahead and do Type, Track Changes in Current Story one more time. Instead of empty, let's do full. For some reason it's not showing me my track changes. This is not something I use an awful lot, but it is an option for when you have multiple people working on a publication. I'm not going to worry about why it's not working right now. For your purposes, it's just enough to know that it is possible. And that's pretty much all you need to know as far as this part of the lesson goes. Once again, File, Package. Make sure you don't have any errors. Make sure you package. Go ahead and save it. You don't really need to do that. I'm going to go into my lesson 6, first initial, last name, InDesign, classroom in a book, chapter 6, and package. And I'm going to go ahead and package it. Then I'm going to make sure I turn in that, I'm going to go to my folder where it's saved, do my right click, send to, compress zip folder. Once I've got it zipped, I go ahead and have something I can turn in for the assignment.